Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC. And ladies and gentlemen, we are coming off of a decent Apex card that went down this past weekend, March 2nd. It's already reached March 4th. I was planning to record this March 3rd, but life, it throws curveballs at you. We've been busy, but it's also led to more things to discuss on this episode of the Surprise Jab Podcast. Got a fun one today. Of course, we'll be capping off the episode, recapping the event, or just doing a full review of UFC Vegas 87. We have so many other reviews to talk about here, including I just saw, I kid you not even but 2 hours ago, actually more like an hour and 15 minutes ago, Dune Part 2. And let me just say, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it on this episode, but I was blown away. It was actually pretty good. It rewrote all the wrongs I had about Dune Part 1, if you will. And yeah, we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about two other movies that I've watched as of late. They're older movies, but I did enjoy watching them and kind of want to give my opinions. We're also going to be listing some of the top spring break destinations, give my thoughts on if I would go there or not to a couple of spring break spots, as I am not actually going on vacation anywhere. But, if I was, would I go to the spot? Going to be giving my thoughts as well on the latest Bachelor episode. I certainly have some takes that I want to get out of the air. Of course, we have a new law on the 48 Laws of Power and some new UFC fights assortments, the rankings updated. We have so much to talk about. So without ado, let's not waste any time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just get right on into it. And kicking us off, as always, we gotta go over some new UFC news. What else would I go over to start off an episode of the Surprise Shop Podcast? What else? And we have a couple things. We do have a couple things to talk about. There have been some new fights. Let's go over some of the new fights announced. For UFC Vegas 92 going down May 18th, of course, at the UFC Apex, a welterweight fight was announced between Ramiz Brahimaj and Themba Gorimbo. Themba Gorimbo, of course, the fighter who The Rock gifted a house. Very cool to see. What more do you want from Themba Gorimbo? Coming off a 30-second KO of Pete Rodriguez on Absolute Fire, has already got a fight booked again for May. Happy to see him making a quick turnaround. Ramiz Brahimaj coming off a win over Michael Gilmore, I believe. I don't know. I haven't seen him fight in a while. That's on one of the lists of his notable wins. He's 2-2 in the UFC, 10-4 professionally. Should be a fun one on an Apex card. Also announced in the men's lightweight division, going down on May 11th, which is a rumored card for St. Louis, Missouri, we have a lightweight fight between Chase Hooper and Vyacheslav Borshev. Chase Hooper is coming off the biggest win of his career over Jordan Leavitt, submitting him in round number 1. And as for Vyacheslav Borshev, coming off a win over, I believe, Mahashat, Chris Duncan, one of those two guys. This is a clash of styles. Vyacheslav Borshev sucks at grappling. If you're on the feet, he'll knock you out. Chase Hooper kind of struggles on the feet, is more of a submission master on the ground. It'll be so fascinating to see that one going down. Announced also for that rumored St. Louis card on May 11th, the welterweight fight between Trey the Truth Waters, who is 8-1 and is 1-0 in the UFC after debuting on short notice earlier this year. He'll be taking on 9-2 Billy Goff. Billy Goff picked up a win over Yusaku Kinoshita. Ooh, very, very fascinating. That was back in, I want to say December. I want to say that was December, maybe November. Happy to see both of those two going at it again. Yeah, Trey Waters debuted on short notice and handed Josh Quinlan his first professional defeat. Should be a fun one. Also announced Thiago Moises was supposed to take on, I believe it was Brad Riddell on UFC Vegas 88, which is going down March 16th. Unfortunately, Brad Riddell did have to pull out due to injury. Instead, will be stepping in Mitch Ramirez, who is 8-1 and will be making his UFC debut. Thiago Moises, of course, 6-5 in the UFC, 17-7 professionally. He's been fighting a number of opponents for a while. His biggest wins were over Alexander Hernandez, Michael Johnson, and Bobby Green. Should be a fun one there, but I think Thiago Moises gets it done. Pretty ironic, of course, where am I going with this? Justin Tafa was supposed to fight Marcos Rogério de Lima at UFC Vegas 98. Instead, his younger brother Junior stepped in, and of course, we know lost. But Junior Tafa was originally scheduled to take on Carl Williams at UFC Vegas 89, March 23rd. So instead, stepping in will be the man who was supposed to fight Marcos Rogério de Lima. That is his older brother, Justin Tafa. So a little swapping of the Tafa brothers in this one. So Carl Williams will be taking on Justin Tafa at UFC Vegas 89, March 23rd. Carl Williams Williams is 2-0 in the UFC with wins over Chase Sherman and Lucas Brzezic. Justin Badman Tafa 4-3 in the UFC, currently on a 3-fight win streak. Wins over Parker Porter and Austin Lane are some of the highlights of that win streak. Should be a fun one, and Justin Tafa should be back in the win column, and sooner or later will be moving up the UFC rankings. I think he's one of the better unranked heavyweights. And the latest fight we got, which is an absolute banger for UFC 301 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, May 4th, between Elvis Brenner and Matejbek Orobai. Of course, Elvis Brenner, 3-0 in the UFC. Knockouts of Kanan Kruischke and Guram Kudladze have put him on the map. He's an absolute stud, 60-3, and trains with Charles Oliveira. What more do you want? This guy's a stud. And as for Matejbek Orobai, I mean, the weirdest name ever, debuted on short notice and submitted Uros Medic back in, I believe I think it was January. I think it was this year. Yeah, I think it was to kick off this year. He's already back. He's 1-0 in the UFC, 12-1 professionally from Kyrgyzstan. That is going to be an absolute banger on the prelims of UFC 301. Might even throw it on the main card. I would not be surprised if they put that fight on the main card. That is just how good it is. Super pumped for that fight. Some other news. EA Sports UFC 5 has added 2 new fighters to its video game, which I'm just absolutely thrilled to see. Love seeing them add new fighters. Going to the lightweight division, they added number 9 ranked Jalen Turner, coming off his nasty round 1 knockout of Bobby Green. Very excited to play with him once I'm back from spring break. And also going to the men's welterweight division, number 7 ranked Sean Brady, who only has 1 loss professionally. He's coming off a huge finish of Kelvin Gastelum in December. Excited to play with both of those guys. And my main question is, who's going to be added in April? We can talk about that on another episode, but just kind of wanted to touch that those fighters have been added, so I'll be excited to play with them and see how they move. Talking about UFC 299 going down this upcoming Saturday, March 9th. Absolutely pumped for that. We will be doing a full card breakdown on episode 72 of the Surprise Jump podcast coming out in the next 2 days, and we might even talk about it a bit more while we are in Chicago, as we may be doing a surprise episode with the one and only Ryan Bonecki. Stay tuned for that. But in regards to that, your champion Sean O'Malley will actually be rocking with pink shorts for his first title defense. I kid you not. Sugar Sean O'Malley will be having pink shorts. I mean, it looks like cotton candy. They do look pretty dope, I won't lie, but I just think it's pretty comical that you're going to be seeing him in some pink shorts. Excited for that. Rumored card spots for UFC 305 going down in August is either Perth, Australia or Miami, Florida. It's kind of, if they can get the Miami date, they kind of want to do the 305, make a Miami card. But if not, Perth, Australia is rumored to be a spot for the upcoming card. Just a little side note, just a little something that they were talking about, but figured I would bring it up since it's been in discussion. And we'll save talking about the rankings, honestly, until we talk about the card first, since it's in relation to the card that we're going to be discussing to end the episode. So we'll save the rankings for them. But yes, a lot of UFC news, and I'm sure lots more to come as UFC 299 begins to wind up. Still no news on what the final UFC 300 fight is. I'm honestly starting to think there isn't one as we approach almost a full month until UFC 300. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe there'll be a fight. I don't know. I don't even know what fight there could be. You know, I think that's another thing, is because there's just speculation about what fight it could be. I don't know. That's for another episode. But let's keep it moving. And what should we talk about? Let's talk about some old movies I recently watched. One the girlfriend put me on to. One I found by myself. But one of them that my girlfriend Lexi found was 10 Things I Hate About You. I don't even know what I watched it on. I think it was Hulu. I think I watched it on Hulu. And it stars Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger. Rest in peace to Heath Ledger. It also has a young Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Very interesting to see those guys. And it was just an amazing, amazing tale. Basically, You got your unpopular girl or your semi-popular girl in high school who just hates men. She doesn't want to date anyone, and her younger sister is told by her father, you can only date if your older sister dates. So young Joseph Gordon-Levitt, being the mind man he is, pays Heath Ledger or he basically gets his rival, if you will, to pay Heath Ledger to take out the Julia Stiles girl in this one, or Kat as she's known, and begins to date her, and they fall for each other, so that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is able to date her younger sister, who is played by Larissa Olenek. So it's a good tale. It was really heartwarming. It ended happily, and those early 2000s rom-coms, which I think this actually came out in 95, if you will. It was just such a good tale. You had your comedic moments, you had your just heart-wrenching moments, if you will. I very much enjoyed it and just figured I would briefly touch on it. So I encourage it. The 10 Reasons Why I Hate You is what I think it's officially called. 1999 it came out. It's only an hour and a half. It's actually the number 10 most popular searched rom-com on streaming services. How about that? Very, very fascinating. Andrew Keegan plays the villain in this, Joey Daughter, who is super funny. He's like this kid who he's a model, so he's always like checking himself out during scenes. It's pretty funny. The other movie that I watch, which I love this movie. And I don't know why. My girlfriend said I'm fruity for liking this, but The Devil Wears Prada, I find this movie so good. I don't know why. There's just something about it, the message that it sends. Coming out in 2006, it's basically described as a comedy drama headlined by Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway. Meryl Streep plays Miranda Priestley, who is this big shot, how do I describe her? Just basically fashion director, fashion guru, she's a millionaire, just famous, if you will. And Anne Hathaway plays Andrea Sachs, also known as Andy in the film, and she basically just takes this job as her assistant or second assistant, which is one of the things that they talk about in the film. And she, just takes it as a normal job because she wants to be a journalist. And it takes her through this whole whirlwind where in the end she finds out this life is not made up for her. And Meryl Streep, her character, turns up, she actually kind of likes Anne Hathaway's character at the end of it. Also stars Emily Blunt. It also stars Stanley Tucci. You get Adrian Grenier, Simon Baker, Giselle Brundich. I mean, you have so many studs. Tom Brady's ex-wife. Wait, we don't like her. You have Simon Baker, who stars as Christian Thompson. He was in, oh my gosh, what was Simon Baker? Simon Baker was in something, The Mentalist. Oh, that was such a good TV show. Very, very good. Emily Blunt's been in a number of movies. Actually, has one with Ryan Gosling coming out soon. And Stanley Tucci, another legendary actor. I mean, what can I tell you? He's been in The Lovely Bones. He's been in the Transformers movies, the Hunger Games, the older ones. He's been in the newest Kingsman movie. My gosh, so many movies. Stanley Tucci might actually be gay. I didn't actually know that. Oh no, he is straight. I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry, Stanley. I guess he played a gay guy in the movie, so I didn't know if he was actually gay. And of course, Adrian Grenier is most famous from Entourage, which is, oh my gosh, I love Entourage. That's a great TV show. But yes, The Devil Wears Prada, very, very good. It makes me want to get into fashion. It actually kind of makes me want to up my game in how I'm dressing, but I don't think I dress that bad, but I don't necessarily dress like an absolute stud, if you will. I'm a typical bro. I wear typical bro clothes, but it is what it is. Let's move on from these old movies to a brand new movie that just came out. That is right, Dune Part 2. Here is my spoiler, Dune Part 2. So spoiler alert, I'm trying to add time markers to Spotify. I have them on my official website, which I upload on RSS podcasting, but I'm working to get it so that you can see on Spotify where you can move the time bar to different slots, but we're still working on that. But this is a spoiler review, so stay alert, because Dune Part 2 was just as good as everyone was saying it is. I'm most upset because I was a Dune hater. I was hating on it. I was saying, oh, it's not that good. It is that good. Just saw it today with my good buddy Josh, and wow, just wow. The cinematography, amazing. The visuals, amazing. The acting was actually pretty spectacular. The character is so well written. It has me ready for Dune Part 3 when that comes out in, goodness knows, 2 to 3 years. And whatever happened in that first movie, just, the snore fest that was the first movie, this second movie makes up for it. It gets a 9 out of 10 for me. Dune Part 2 is that good. The third act is as amazing as people are saying. Second act, I won't lie, it is kind of boring at times. It does drag. It is a long movie, 2 hours and 45 minutes, but the story is super good. It felt shorter than Oppenheimer, and Oppenheimer was a long movie for me, so that should say something. Dune, Austin Butler plays the villain in this, introduced kind of halfway through. Spoiler alert, does die in like the final scene of the movie, but is played so well. I wish they would have kept him around. He's so evil, so cunning, so conniving. He does give a great villain performance. It doesn't top, Heath Ledger's Joker, if you will, or Anthony, or whoever, what's his face's name from No Country for Old Men, but I do think it's up there for great villain performances. Timmy Chalamet, actually a very good main character. I will say his acting style, how he delivers lines, it does feel like he's acting. At times it doesn't feel like he's a character of the film, but that's kind of the one thing I'll say about this movie that I can look past, because Timothy gives an amazing performance. Zendaya being the love interest in the film, Shania, I think her name is, Paul Atreides, of course, Timmy Chalamet's character. They gel so well together. Sorry, Tom Holland. I think they got more chemistry. I don't know after watching this show, but just amazing. I will say, in regards to the story, I do feel like Timothy Chalamet's character, Paul Atreides, is gaining too much power. He's basically like the Luke Skywalker, the Skywalker of the Star Wars world, the Jon Snow of the Game of Thrones world. But I just feel like he's gaining too much power, and the third movie, he might actually crumble and fall and die. I don't know. That's just my theory. You also have Florence Pugh starring in this film. She plays Princess Urulin, who is Christopher Walken's character, who plays the Emperor. That's his daughter in the film. Very fast things. See how they're going to end up in the third film. You also have we already talked about Zendaya. Rebecca Ferguson, she plays Timothy Chalamet's mother. Very weird character. Be prepared to be weirded out by her. Jason Momoa is actually listed for Dune Part 2, but I can tell you all right now, he is not in Dune Part 2. I don't even recall in a flashback if he's in that. Stellan Skarsgård. Oh yes, Stellan Skarsgård. Of course, he was in the game. Not the Game of Thrones. The Thor movies. The Thor movies. Of course, he is the doctor or whatever. He plays like the villain Baron Vladimir something. Amazing villain. Dave Bautista gives a great performance. Javier Bardem. Yes, Javier Bardem. That's who he is. He plays Stilgar, who is a character in the film. Very much excited to see him. I saw that David Dastmalchian was listed for this. I didn't see him at all in the film. Very, very confused by that. Big spoiler alert right here. Josh Brolin's character, Gurney Halleck, is back. He returns. That was a very cool return. Thinking that, especially that he had died in the first Dune movie. So it was good to see him coming back. But yeah, just looking at the discography, I mean, a little taken aback that I did not see a couple of these characters in the film, but very, very good. Good battle scenes. The worms or whatever, the sandworms or whatever, they're so fun to watch just coasting through the sand. They honestly bring just such joy to me watching them just go through everyone, destroy them all. But yeah, I'll say the CGI in this film was off the charts. Amazing CGI. I was very, very impressed. And the reviews for this film are just outstanding. I mean, IMDb gives it a 9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes a 93%. And those are very biased sites, so you should know how good they are. And the director, Denis Villeneuve, this should be no surprise to anyone that he did this good. He directed the first Dune movie. He directed Blade Runner 2049, Sicario, Arrival. He's directed Prisoners. I mean, this guy is great. Denis Villeneuve, you're an amazing filmmaker, if you will. 56 years young. Happy to see what new movies he continues to bring to the forefront. But yeah, Dune Part 3, really hoping that gets made. I really need to know how the rest of this story plays out, because my goodness, Dune Part 2. It's just one of those movies that's going to be beyond my mind for the coming future. But yeah, it does kind of leave on a cliffhanger with basically Paul Atreides, who's portrayed by Timothy Chalamet, basically. How do I describe it? Conquering everyone, the Emperor kneels before him, kisses his hand, he takes everyone prisoner. He's basically going to war with the other great houses. So I want you to picture like the Targaryens waging war against every other house in Game of Thrones, something like that. And Zendaya, he basically, Timothy Chalamet chose to marry, he's going to marry Florence Pugh to kind of unite two great houses, when Zendaya is just a low life, and she didn't get chosen, so she rode a sandworm off into the distance. So sad, so unfortunate that she doesn't get to be with Timothée Chalamet, but we'll see what happens. I don't really want to say I've seen some spoilers, but I've seen like some concept art of what happens in the books, and it sounds like Timothée Chalamet's character, Paul Atreides, basically, like, I don't know if he like dies or something, or something happens to him, but it's like he doesn't become the Messiah or the King or whatever he was promised to be. I don't know. I don't know what's to come with this, but Dune Part 2 was amazing. I do encourage you to see it on the big screen. I do think that helped the effect that it had, but it is long. I only took 2 bathroom breaks. Actually, 4. I took one right before, right after, and 2 in between. So, that's just me with my small bladder. But Dune Part 2 gets a 9 out of 10 for me, and I don't throw rankings around that lightly. If anyone knows me, I do not throw rankings around that lightly. Before I talk about The Bachelor, let's look at one of our laws. Of course, in the 48 Laws of Power, I have been lacking on reading. I won't lie to you guys. I will not lie to my family, to my friends, to anyone. But I only read Law 43 since I'm pretty sure Thursday. It's been a minute since I last read, but nonetheless, one law is better than no laws. Law 43 is as important as the others. Let's get right into it. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others. Here's what the judgment says. Coercion creates a reaction that will eventually work against you. You must seduce others into wanting to move in your direction. A person you have seduced becomes your loyal pawn, and the way to seduce others is to operate on their individual psychologies and weaknesses. Soften up the resistance by working on their emotions, playing on what they hold dear and what they fear. Ignore the hearts and minds of others, and they will grow to hate you. So this is a very important law. I don't even think there's a reversal to this law, but you have to know who you're working with. You have to work on every single person differently. This is certainly important for sales. I've learned this in professional selling, that you have to attack every customer, every client differently. You can't treat them all the same, because not every single person is the same. They all have their different ticks, their reasons for doing certain things, and that's why I think this law is very, very important. I'm trying to see if I can summarize briefly what the transgression is. Let me just tell you, this was a long chapter. It had a lot to unpack, but the transgression, of course, is what's the opposite of the law is. And it has to do with Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette, of course, was, what was she? She was a young bride of, I believe it was King Louis the 16th? Yes, and Marie Antoinette's greatest pleasure was the creation and designing of a private Garden of Eden at the Petit Trianon. So she built her own private Garden of Eden, spent all her time there, spent all the money in France doing that, and, she didn't really think about any of the others. She only thought about herself, and it eventually led her to the guillotine. So that's just a very brief summary of what it is, but the important thing about this law is you have to take others into account when you're going to attempt to obtain power. So let me just try and find some of the smaller quotes, some of the smaller stories to go about. Here's from Aesop of Fables, from his book Fables, which he wrote in the 16th century. The gentle art of persuasion. The north wind and the sun were disputing which one was the stronger, and agreed to acknowledge as the victor whichever one of them could strip a traveler of his clothing. The wind tried first, but its violent gusts only made the man hold his clothes tightly around him, and when it blew harder still, the cold made him so uncomfortable that he put on an extra wrap. Eventually the wind got tired of it and handed him over to the sun. The sun shone first with a moderate warmth, which made the man take off his topcoat. Then it blazed fiercely, till unable to stand the heat, he stripped and went off to bathe in a nearby river. Persuasion is more effective than force. Persuasion is more effective than force. Very simple thing. If you're trying to get someone to do something, don't attack them. Go at them, because they'll put up more layers like the wind does against when you're being beat with the wind. But with the sun, if you gently warm them up, so you take off your coat, gently warm them up more, start to think about, maybe getting in the water, till eventually their clothes are off, they're in the water. That is how you persuade someone. Here's another quote from Napoleon Bonaparte. Of course, lived from 1769 to 1821, one of the greatest rulers of all time. The men who have changed the universe have never gotten their way by working on leaders, but rather by moving the masses. Working on leaders is the method of intrigue and only leads to secondary results. Working on the masses, however, is the stroke of genius that changes the face of the world. And this even happened in Dune Part 2, where the mother was talking to Paul, and she basically said, the way we're going to get you to become the leader of these people is if you get the masses. Not the people at the top, but the masses. Now, I will say, I have read in some other laws to kind of go for the top dog, or whatever you want to phrase it, when you're going for trying to gain control of people. But I think for this more applies to it can be one-on-one or in certain instances. Everything's about the application of certain instances, and for this case, it is going for the masses. Here's something from T.E. Lawrence in his book, The 7 Pillars of Wisdom. Governments saw men only in mass, but our men, being irregulars, were not formations, but individuals. Our kingdoms lay in each man's mind. This story comes from, I believe, Chuko Liang. Of course, we've talked about him in the days of the after death 225. I mean, this is the early centuries of the world, where to conquer China, he was able to get every single man to believe that he had a passion, a reason to be fighting for China, and eventually led him to taking over. Eventually led him to gaining rule over all of China, and there's a lot of instances of him in the 48 Laws of Power. So if you guys read this, Chuko Liang is brought up a numerous amount of times. In the Keys of Power, here's what it says. In the game of power, you're surrounded by people who have absolutely no reason to help you unless it is their interest to do so. And if you have nothing to offer their self-interest, you're likely to make them hostile, for they will see you in just one more competitor, one more waste of their time. Those that overcome this prevailing coldness are the ones who find the key that unlocks the stranger's heart and mind, seducing him into their corner, if necessary, softening him up for a punch, or maybe a jab, like the Surprise Jab podcast. This law has no reversal, as there's just no reversal. You have to work on everyone individually. You have to pry, you have to get at them. And this is a very good law. I encourage everyone to read this Law 43. I will do no due diligence to it, just summarizing it briefly. I think it takes someone reading it in depth to go about it. Here's the image for you. The keyhole. People build walls to keep you out. Never force your way in. You will find only more walls within walls. There are doors in these walls, doors to the heart and mind, and they have tiny keyholes. Peer through the keyhole, find the key that opens that door, and you have access to their will with no ugly signs of forced entry. And that's how you get to someone. That's how you get to someone. I know I like to practice some of these laws. This one's a bit more devious, trying to get to know someone better bit by bit by bit. But putting it to practice has been very, very much fun. Here's what the authority says from the great Chinese philosopher Han Fi Tzu. The difficulties in the way of persuasion lie in my knowing the heart of the persuaded in order thereby to fit my wording into it. Fitting, what you're saying into what the person wants to hear. For this reason, whoever attempts persuasion before the throne must carefully observe the sovereign's feelings of love and hate, his secret wishes and fears, before he can conquer his heart. You must know the person you're trying to deal with. You must know your victim, if you will, as evil as that sounds. But that's just kind of how it is. You have to know the hearts and minds of others when you're dealing with them. And that's just what I think is very important when it comes to this law. So we'll be brief. I've got stuff to obtain, stuff to do tonight. So that'll be enough for this law. But trust me, next time we speak, I will make sure to find some other laws. Maybe not this week, maybe next week. Certainly when I'm at college, I have much more time, much more due diligence to look more in-depthly into these laws, but nonetheless, good to read about them. Moving on to our next topic. Let me see. Do I talk about spring break? Do I talk about The Bachelor? I think we're going to talk about The Bachelor, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're going to talk about right now, because the latest episode of The Bachelor dropped yesterday, Monday, March 4th. And let me just say, Joey, what are you doing? What are you doing, Joey? You clearly don't know. You clearly don't know what you're doing, Joey. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable what this guy is up to. It pisses me off. He let Maria spoiler, sorry if no one's seen The Bachelor. I apologize, spoiler alert. I really should drop these. I really should drop spoiler alerts, but hey, that's just me. My bad. But yes, the 48 not the 48 Laws of Power. All right, I'm trying to throw everyone off now, but Joey, he kicked Maria off. He eliminated Maria, and this was hometowns. This was where Joey goes up to every single of the girls. There were 4 girls remaining. You had Kelsey, you had Rachel, you had Daisy, you had Maria. All right, I'll summarize each date briefly here. Kelsey, he went down to New Orleans, shared some time with her, made out with her in public, in a bar, in a park, just anywhere you could picture it. And her family seemed pretty nice. The dad seemed good. He lost his wife, of course, Kelsey's mother, and, you want to make sure she was in good hands. And honestly, Kelsey and Joey seem to get along pretty well. It does seem like Kelsey's goo-goo eyes over Joey. I don't know if Joey's necessarily goo-goo eyes over any of the other girls, but, Kelsey, Kelsey seemed to be pretty good. She seemed to gel with him pretty good. Told him she was falling in love with him. Joey, of course, just said, "Thank you, I appreciate that," like the F-boy frat president he is. But yeah, there was that. Then I'm even more perplexed by Rachel because they didn't even go to Hawaii. They went to California. Her family seemed the most hesitant about Joey. Okay, and nonetheless, Joey had a good time celebrating the Honolulu culture, whatever, Hawaiian, Filipino. I think that was actually Filipino culture. The father was obviously skeptical, as he should be. Mother was kind of skeptical. And honestly, I left there thinking that he was going to be leaving, not with Rachel. I thought he was going to be eliminating Rachel. But no, he chose to keep Rachel. Very perplexed. After that, Daisy, and let me just tell you, Daisy's got to be the front runner. I mean, come on. Her family loved Joey. The mom was like, he seems like such a good boy. A typical Minnesotan mom. Absolutely loved her. Yeah, seemed to have fun. They were on a little Christmas tree farm, if you will, where Daisy grew up. Seemed very nice, seemed very fun. Daisy, very happy that she's still on. She's the Minnesota girl. We gotta root for the Minnesota girl. I mean, why aren't we gonna root for the Minnesota girl? I mean, come on, root for your home state's person if they're ever in something. Then after Daisy, we got into Maria, sweet Maria, and her father's a freaking mobster, freaking millionaire, knows what he's doing. He was smoking a cigar, absolute badass. Loved Maria's dad. And, he basically pulled Joey aside and said, I've never seen Maria like this. I don't take this lightly. And Joey asked him for his blessing. And he said, if she's in, I give you my blessing. And I left that thinking, Maria's the number one. There's no way she doesn't go home. And Maria didn't say that she loved him before he left. So all the other girls said, Joey, I love you so much. You're the man of my dreams, even though all I do is make out with you. And Maria was like, yeah, you know what? I really, really care about you. I really like you, but yeah, there's that. And Joey left. And then as they're in an airport hangar for some reason, like there's just a random airplane. They're in a hangar. They rolled out a red carpet. All the four girls are standing there. Joey pulls up. Maria says, hey, can I pull you aside? And Joey goes, yeah, of course. Brings him by in the airplane, says, I'm falling in love with you. Joey goes, thank you so much. Goes around, proceeds to eliminate her. Unreal. Kelsey, Daisy, getting the first two roses. Rachel and Maria brought down to them, and he chooses Maria. Unreal. I hope that Maria's father does the old Tony Soprano whack job on Joey. I mean, are you kidding me? Maria was awesome. She was so fun. She seemed to actually, not want to be... Maria was so logical. She was like, you know what? I'm not comfortable with him, seeing him around all these women, which is what I'm pretty sure everyone else that watches The Bachelor thinks. Her father was like the only one, I'm pretty sure, to give his blessing. And just, I don't know, I was very, very annoyed that he kicked Maria off. And honestly, if he doesn't end up with Daisy, I don't see him and Kelsey lasting. I don't see him and Rachel. I honestly don't see him lasting with any of these women. Joey honestly has the most stagnant personality. He's just a tall drink of water. That's all he is. And you look behind his eyes, and there's just nothing going on. It's just blank there. He's just licking his lips going, I just want to make out with you on national TV. Absolute F-boy. Let's put him on F-boy Island. We all know I like F-boy Island, but there's The Bachelor for you. Next Monday, down to the final 3, which I think then goes down to the final 2. I think that's how it works. I think it goes, he'll eliminate one of them, which if Rachel is still there at the final episode, I'm going to lose my mind. I clearly don't know how men work, all right, as being a man. I clearly don't know how we work if he chooses Rachel. But I think the consensus is with me that we shouldn't have kicked Maria off. I was on Twitter, I was on X, if you will, looking at what everyone was saying, and they were all kind of like, Zach, I'm so with you. It makes no sense to me. So there's that. That's all I got for The Bachelor. I won't waste anyone's time on this topic any longer because it is absurd. Alrighty, we're just cooking through all of our topics today, which is good because I actually have to get someplace tonight. But what is our surprise topic? Our surprise topic for the episode, it's not Dune Part 2, it's not The Bachelor, it's not movies, it's not UFC news. No, we are going to be looking at 34 spring break destinations that are so worth the trip. This article is from Delish. Got a bunch of reviews, got a bunch of likes, so I was like, you know what? I'll check it out. I'll see what's up with spring break places and see if I want to go there. I don't think I've ever really been somewhere for spring break. I've been to Arizona before when I was like in high school, but I can't remember if that was on spring break. I've been to Mexico when I was little. I've been to San Diego when I was in high school. I've been to Florida. I've been to Florida when I was in college. Actually, I've been to a lot of fun places, but never anywhere for spring break. Definitely got to go. Senior year. Number one spot, I don't think this is in order, but this is just the first spot, is the Catskills in New York. If you're looking for a nature-focused getaway where you can hike, then hang out beside mountain-facing fire pits, consider the Catskills. This upstate New York region has quietly become a hipster hangout with revamped inns and high-quality restaurants. In fact, the restaurant at the 14-room De Bruce in Livingston Manor has been named one of the best in the country. Yeah, I'm looking for beaches. That's where I'm looking. Here we go. St. Kitts. Though not as well known as some of the other islands in the Caribbean, this number 2 spot on our list, St. Kitts has everything you need for a great spring break. A new resort, the Park Hyatt St. Kitts, is attracting major buzz, and there are plenty of beach bars that have a frozen cocktail, catch the sunset, and dance to a steel drum band. That's up my alley. And the picture it's showing is a mountain. You have this little beach area, which looks like a pool. Then you have the ocean with a little beach in between. Some places to chill, a cabana with a bar. Yeah, that looks like the spot for me. So that's one place I'm going. Number 3, Belize. Haven't been to Belize. This small and upcoming Central American country named on National Geographic's Best Trips 2019 list has lush rainforests, numerous Mayan ruins, yes for me, stellar scuba diving and snorkeling around Ambiguous Cay Island, making it an ideal choice for those seeking an adventure-filled beachy spring break. This looks fun. This resort looks fun. They got a little adults-only pool. And going scuba diving. Okay, scuba dive with some great white sharks. Go in the jungle, fight some Mayan tribes, explore some ancient ruins, discover the secrets of the universe. I'm in Belize. I will visit you. Park City, Utah. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, this is in the mountains, and it's giving me winter romantic movie vibes. Not the beach type, head to Park City to spend your spring break skiing or snowboarding. There's typically snow in Utah's Wasatch Mountains, even in April. After your runs, the ski lift will drop you off right on Main Street, which makes it that much easier to kick off a ski at hotspots like the West Distillery and Saloon. Wow. The ski lift literally is right in the middle of town, so you can go right up the mountain to ski and come right back down and get some. You know, it does look fun, but I don't want something cold, especially when I'm from Minnesota for spring break. When I think spring break, I think warm. That's what I think of. I think warm. 5, South Padre Island, Texas. My buddy Landon's actually going there. Over the past few years, South Padre Island has become a hot spot for spring breakers. It offers warm weather, fabulous beaches, a buzzy nightlife, and most importantly, affordable dining and cheap stays where you go with your whole group. Yeah, notable hotels. I think his dad's getting a house for him and his 2 brothers. Pretty fun. Number 6, this is one of the most popular spots that I hear about everyone going to, Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. Punta Cana is one of the top beach resorts on the Dominican Republic. Not only does the tourist-friendly destination have gorgeous beaches, but it boasts lots of all-inclusive resorts where you can pay one price up front, then kick back and enjoy your spring break. And yeah, shows a bunch of palm trees, gorgeous beach, clear water. That's someplace I'd like to be. That's definitely someplace I'd like to be. Oh boy, number 7, Miami, Florida. This is not the place to be. Let me tell you that. This is not the place to be. Miami is definitely the trendy place to head for spring break with plenty of C&B scene, beachfront resorts, glitzy restaurants, famous nightclubs, and top-notch shopping. For when you're not at the beach, you'll be living life in the fat flame. Blah, 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 blah. Nah, Miami, Florida is placing restrictions for spring break. It's absolutely crazy. You can't be out. The bars close at 6. I think they also have a curfew on the area. You also can't get drinks, I'm pretty sure, if you're under 23. I mean, they place so many restrictions for Miami, Florida, because apparently in the past few years, it's become so trash. The city's just had enough. It's not even making money from all the nightclubs and bars people are going to. Crazy stuff, but hey, that's what you get in 305. Miami-Dade County, Pitbull, Jorge Masvidal, Colby Covington. Number 8, Cancun, Mexico. What more do you want me to say, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, Cancun, Mexico is one of the most notable spots for spring break. I actually hear the cartel owns a majority of the resorts in Cancun, Mexico, which actually makes it safe because they protect it from other people. Number 9, Nashville, Tennessee, which actually is someplace I might be going in hopefully the fall, as me and a bunch of my buddies are looking to go to the Tennessee Titans Minnesota Vikings game in Nashville, Tennessee, buy an Airbnb and just have an absolute ball. Honestly, I'm pumped. It sounds like a great time. Number 10, Las Vegas, Nevada. Sin City, grab your swimsuit and get a drink in your hand because Vegas has some of the craziest daytime pool parties and gambling. That's right, Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That is a place of wildness. I don't know. I'll go to Vegas at some point in my life. Number 11, the Bahamas. Between the sun-drenched islands of Nassau, Paradise, and Freeport, you'll have plenty of choice when it comes to finding the right resort for a memorable spring break. Go with your friends, family, or both, and enjoy nothing but fun in the sun. The Bahamas does look nice. Got a lot of cool sights there, cool resorts. I'd check out the Bahamas. Number 12, Orlando, Florida. I guess they got Disney World and Universal Orlando. There's just other places in Florida I'd like to go, like the Florida Keys, but yeah, Orlando, Florida, another popular spot. Catch a Magic game while I'm there. I don't know what the Magic are doing this year, probably not too hot. Number 13, Santo Dominico in the Dominican Republic. Spring breakers looking to do more than just kick back on the beach and drink Mai Tai should check out Santo Domingo as both the largest city in the Caribbean as well as the capital of the Dominican Republic. It has plenty of historical sites to visit. Sure, why not? Never been to the Dominican Republic. I'll check it out. Number 14, Jamaica, man. Jamaica. It not only has pristine tropical beaches, but plenty of things to do for active types. For the most action, head to Port Antonio for hiking and river rafting, while Negril has snorkeling and other fun water sports. Negril, Negril. I believe that's a city in Jamaica. You know what I'm talking about. Wow, almost got me lacking there. But yeah, I think I've heard of someone going to the Bahamas and it was super fun, but who knows? I'd check out Jamaica. I mean, not the Bahamas, but Jamaica. Makes me think of Cool Runnings. That one movie where the Jamaicans go on a bobsled team. It stars was that Candy? I think it was John Candy. Oh man, what a good movie. Number 15, Key West. I've been to Key West. It is absolutely amazing. The nightlife, the vibes. We had our own private pool, having some drinks. Key West, Florida. Amazing. 10 out of 10 spot. Number 16, Los Angeles, California. I guess the city of angels. I don't know Los Angeles. I just feel like it's become just too expensive. It's become a dangerous place, and it's just, if you're not rich, you're not going to make it. Number 17 is the Outer Banks in North Carolina. I guess we're going on a Netflix TV show, The Outer Banks, because that's all I can think of when I think of the Outer Banks. But hey, you know what? If it's like the Outer Banks TV show, I'll check it out. Seems like a pretty cool spot. This 130-mile long barrier island chain has long attracted those looking for an off the beaten path beach getaway. Oh, you can even go horseback riding. How fun! Number 18 says national parks in various states. I guess he wants to go camping on spring break, though. Not Zachary. Number 19 is New Orleans, Louisiana. That's right up my alley. That's a party city. It's actually where Kelsey from The Bachelor's from, as well as the setting of Mafia 3, one of my favorite video games of all time. Chow down on Cajun and Creole dishes before catching some live jazz in this infectious party vibe city. Yeah, I'm down with it. Maybe even catch a few beads, if you know what that means. Number 20, the Gulf Shores in Alabama. Gulf Shores, the beachfront town in southern Alabama, attracts everyone from families to girls' getaways to college kids. In addition to pristine beaches along the Gulf of Mexico, the area also has a water park, golf course, and dolphin cruise. It does look kind of fun. The picture I'm seeing is literally someone's backyard to their resort, or not even resort, but like their Airbnb, if you will, house they're staying at. Is it the back steps really go right into the beach, right into the water. That looks like fun, but also kind of dangerous. Number 21, Turks and Caicos. I hear this in rap songs sometimes. Turks and Caicos boasts one of the Caribbean's most stunning stretches of sand, the croissant-shaped 7-mile beach, which goes on for 7 glorious miles. Many of the top resorts can be found here, so you never have to walk too far for a refreshing dip. I love it. I love it, Turks and Caicos. That is so much fun. That looks like so much fun. The resort looks huge. Giant pool right by the ocean, too. Yikes. Number 22, Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. For a south-of-the-border spring break, consider Cabo San Lucas on the tip of the Baja California Peninsula. Hit the beach, take a cruise to see El Arco, a natural archway in the sea, and indulge in the tequila-fueled nightlife in cantinas like Cabo Wabo. Wow, keep me away from the tequila. Let me just tell you that. Yikes. Cabo Lampo. Number 23 is Asheville, North Carolina, and the picture is a massive mountain. 250-room Vanderbilt Mansion Term Museum. Wow, the town also has a stellar craft beer scene. It's located in western North Carolina. That mansion is huge, my goodness. Number 24, San Diego, California. I've been to San Diego, one of the best family-friendly spring break destinations is San Diego. Very true. San Diego's a very fun spot. Did go to the San Diego Zoo. That was cool. Checked out the beach. Good times in San Diego. Number 25 is New Smyrna Beach in Florida. If you're not into the craziness of a Daytona spring break, head a bit south to New Smyrna, a hip little surfing enclave with miles of unspoiled beaches, intense sunsets, and a cutesy downtown filled with ice cream parlors, coffee houses, and surf shops. I mean, it just looks like a typical Florida spot if you ask me. But I'll check it out. Number 26, Depot Bay, Oregon. No. I'm not going to Oregon. If I go to Oregon, it's on the hunt for conspiracy theories. That's all I'm going there for. Number 27, London, England. Why not add a little culture to your boozy nights? I guess I don't want to get shanked by some roadmen. My goodness, London, England. I'm sure it'd be fun, but I would need a big group. I need someone who knows the city. And, everyone would make fun of me for being American, probably. Number 28 is Savannah, Georgia. What? Savannah offers a double treat for spring breakers. Not only does this southern gem have one of the prettiest historic districts, which you can tour by trolley, but also has a rockin' nightlife along River Street, which is lined with bars, restaurants, and clubs. The picture it's showing me is a giant fountain in the middle of a cool-looking park. Maybe, but I don't really know what I'd do in Georgia. Number 29 is Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. A huge spring break destination for college kids. It also attracts couples, families, and large groups. All ages can appreciate the beaches along Banderas Bay and adventure on ziplining and jungle treks. Looks kind of cool. Big coastline. Number 30, Amsterdam, Netherlands. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I want to go to Amsterdam, ladies and gentlemen. I've heard that is a crazy, crazy area. Not the entire city, but rather the red light district is known as a huge party city. Try not to sleep all day, though. If you're there, you'll definitely want to hit the Van Gogh Museum. Interesting. Number 31, Aruba. The Palm Beach area is where the bulk of the beachfront resorts are. Expect swim-up bars, water sports spas, and casinos. While the capital of Orange Justit has duty-free shopping and fine dine restaurants, making Aruba a hit with spring breakers. Yeah, it actually looks cool. Yeah, I checked that out. A couple of cool hotels. Number 32, Lake Tahoe, California. I don't want to go to a lake. I don't want to go to... Who needs the beach where you can spend your days spring skiing in the resorts around Lake Tahoe? No. I'm going to a beach. Number 33 is straight up Iceland. For an adventure-filled getaway, hop a plane to Iceland. Lunar-looking lava fields, massive glaciers, and geothermal pools are just a few of the incredible sights you'll see, and there's a very good chance you'll witness the Northern Lights. Yeah, I'm in. The picture they're showing me looks cool. It's like the Northern Lights over a city. I'm in. Iceland looks dope. And number 34, the final spot on our list for top spring break destinations is Zihuatanejo, Mexico. Fans of the Shawshank Redemption know that wrongly convicted prisoner Andy Dufresne escapes to Zihuatanejo on Mexico's Pacific coast. He must have been onto something because this charming fishing village with its peaceful beaches and palapa-roofed seafood restaurants is this perfect spot for a laid-back spring break. I'll pass. I'm looking more at... I want to go to Iceland. I want to go to California maybe, but really Florida. Florida seems like the spot to be. Florida has all the fun activities, all the fun nightlife, but who knows? A lot of these spots look cool. We'll have to check them out. But yeah, without a doubt, that's all the fun stuff that we've got to talk about today. But as for all my UFC fans out there, let's go over UFC Vegas 87 to round out this episode, as this has been more of a little bit of a catching up episode, getting back into the swing of things as I have been able to record for the last, 4 days, almost 5 now. But yes, UFC Fight Night, Rosenstruck versus Gaziev went down Saturday. We went 7-4. On our predictions, 4-1 on the main card. On Verdict MMA, I got a bronze medal. Not too bad, but yes, not too shabby. We're now 55-26 on the year, which, if my math is not mistaken, 55-26, we are predicting 68% of all the fights so far for 2024. That's pretty good. So if you're keeping along with me, your money should be up. And that's for full cards. We're not even talking about main cards or underdogs or favorites. Who knows? But let's do a quick little card recap, and I'll send you all on your way. Kicking off the card, I was caught off guard, if you will, by this one as Loic Radzhabov KOs Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi in round number 3, just about a minute in. And this was a competitive fight. Round 1, Loic went 4-4 on takedowns, but only had about a minute and 19 seconds of control time. Karim was able to get a minute of control time himself. Did get outstruck by about 8 total strikes. Loic took round 1. Round 2, though, Kareem came back swinging, actually outstruck him 29-18, landed 2 takedowns of his own. It was 1-1 heading to the final round before the Tajik tank, Loic Radzhabov, pulled out a crazy punch to the head, dropped Abdul Kareem, and that was that. A couple follow-up punches, and Loic Radzhabov had his 8th career knockout. Very, very impressive. Good start to his career for Loic Radzhabov. And this was a great way to come back after losing his last UFC fight by knockout in June of 2023. Happy to see what's next for Loic Radzhabov in the, what was this division? In the men's lightweight division. And yeah, that's from Abdul Kareem Al-Sawadi. Tough debut after winning on Dana White's Contender Series, but he'll learn from this. He'll adapt, and it's only his 4th loss. He's 15-4 still impressive. Loic Radzhabov improves to 18-5. Very nice. Following that up, we had another finish as Ludwig Klein knocks out AJ Cunningham with a kick to the body in round number 1 with just about 24 seconds left. Ludwig Klein picking up his 9th career KO, his, 17th career finish. So of his 21 victories, 17 by finish, and he's actually now on a 5-fight unbeaten streak. Impressive. Yeah. Round 1, let me just tell you, in the 4 minutes and 36 seconds this fight went on, Ludwig Klein landed 63 total strikes to 36 for AJ Cunningham. 60 of those were significant. He even landed 2 takedowns. This was all Ludwig Klein as AJ Cunningham stepped in on short notice. Tough for the Savage Kid, but you know what? They'll probably bring him back. They'll probably bring him back. But Ludwig Klein was rocking him on the feet. I think he actually, rocked him with a head kick to the face, a couple big punches, and a kick to the body, and that was that. Fell to the ground, follow-up punches, and Ludwig, Mr. Highlight Klein, gets his 21st victory. Excellent. He now hasn't lost since October of 2021. And since, March of 2022, he's won 4 of 5 fights. His only fight he didn't win was a draw against Jai Herbert last March. And yeah, first finish in a long time. First finish since his UFC debut in 2020. So Ludwig Klein needed this, and honestly, Ludwig Klein versus Loic Radzhabov, it's right there, just because I see both their names directly next to each other. So fun stuff there. Good win for Ludwig Klein. And I predicted that Ludwig Klein would get a round 1 KO. And he did. That's just how I am. Moving on to just a man who I unfortunately have to give up on, as Christian Leroy Duncan TKOs Claudio Ribeiro in round number 2. And that might do it for Claudio Ribeiro. That boy is bad. That boy is very, very bad. Christian Leroy Duncan outstrikes him 75-13, 65 significant strikes to 4. I don't know what to say. Claudio landed 3 significant strikes in round 1 to Christian Leroy Duncan's 41, and in round 2 landed 1 significant strike to Christian Leroy Duncan's 24. Just CLD showing that he is just leveled up. He's leveled up. He's now 3-1 in the UFC, 2 straight round 2 TKOs. Impressive stuff from Christian Leroy Duncan, and this will actually be his 8th career TKO victory of his 10 career wins. Good stuff for him. As for Claudio Ribeiro, second straight time he's been TKO'd in round 2. It's actually the 3rd time in the UFC he's been finished. 1-3 in the UFC. Every fight's ended in round 2. I don't think I've ever heard of that. You rarely see that. Claudio, looking like he just got lucky on Dana White's Contender Series in 2022. I honestly don't know if they're going to bring him back, because that is pretty brutal. I don't know what to say. But Christian Leroy Duncan, good stuff. You're going places in the middleweight division. I like what I'm seeing from CLD. Moving on to another surprise, as Amin Zahabi beats the undefeated 14-0 Javid Bashrat, handing him his first professional defeat. Amin Zahabi picking up his 4th straight victory. Absolutely crazy. His 4th straight victory. Unreal. 4th straight victory. I can't believe he's still doing it. I can't believe he's still doing it, but credit to ya. Tail of this one, Javid goes 0 for 4 on takedowns, gets outstruck in round 2. Actually, you know what? It wasn't actually till round 3 Amin Zahabi outstruck him. So if anything, I'm trying to figure out what round Amin won. Javid outstruck him 14-12 in round 1, 28-26 in round 2, but Amin outstruck him 37-25 in round 3, all those significantly. So I'm thinking Amin won round 2 and 3 after Javid won round 1. That's my only guess. Tough loss for Javid. This does snap his unbeaten streak. is what it is. That's Rob Zombie. Good win for the guy. 36 years old, 4-fight win streak. I'm happy for you. You know what? I am. I'm happy for you, Eamon. Even though I didn't correctly predict, you getting it done, I'll still give you your credit where it's due. I'll tell you what, though. This next fight made up for it. Absolutely. I thought he'd get it done in round 1. Instead, he did it in round 3 for your KO of the Year nominee as Vinicius Oliveira knocks out Bernardo Sapage with 19 seconds left in round number 3 with a flying knee. Absolutely crazy. Hits him with it. I mean, sort of faked him out. First off, let me take you through the fight. Round 1, Bernardo Sapage dominates. 2 of 2 on takedowns, minute and 45 seconds of control time. Significant strikes 14-7, total strikes 33-9 in favor of Bernardo. But round 2, Vinicius starts to turn the tides, lands 2 takedowns, evens up the striking significantly, 18-17, only getting outstruck by 1. Then round 3, Vinicius takes over 43 significant strikes to 13 and rocks Bernardo with a punch as Bernardo goes up against the cage, expects a takedown. Vinicius brings up a knee, clips him as he's moving. He falls to the mat unconscious, and Vinicius Oliveira gets a fight of the night and a performance bonus. That is right, even Bernardo got paid for this. $100,000 in bonus money to Vinicius Oliveira. Absolutely ecstatic. His 16th career KO. Third straight victory. Epic stuff for the bantamweight fighter. Excited to see what's next for him. Just insane, man. Insane KO. It's crazy that later on, literally 2 fights later on the card, we would see another KO for KO of the Year. I mean, just amazing stuff. Happy for Vinicius Oliveira, especially in a bantamweight division, which is always crowded with competition, always showing that it has the highest level of unranked contenders. Insane stuff. And as for Bernardo Sapage, he stepped in on short notice. You showed some heart. I'm sure they'll bring the Lion King back for another go. And by the way, where was he's from Sweden now. We'll bring a little Sweden back. We'll bring you to Sweden. Final prelim of the night, which was actually on Verdict MMA, so I correctly predicted the exact way that this fight would go. It was Eric Anders versus Jamie Pickett, and that was that. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. No, I'm just kidding. But very boring fight as expected. Eric Anders getting the unanimous decision victory over Jamie Pickett. Eric Anders, I thought he'd get done by submission. It turns out I had written down, so my bad. But tail of this fight, round 1, Jamie Pickett drops Eric Anders, and Eric Anders resorts to takedowns the rest of the fight. 5 of 13 on takedowns, 1 of 6 in round 1 for 2 minutes 42 seconds of control time. Round 2, 2 of 4 for 3 minutes of control time. Round 3, 2 of 3 on takedowns for 4.5 minutes of control time. Eric Anders showing that he can still grapple, showing that he can still get it done. And that'll actually be Eric Anders' first win since December 2022. So good to see him get back in the win category. Jamie Pickett has now lost 5 straight fights and has been promptly cut by the UFC. 5 straight losses, hadn't won since January of 2022, and actually finished his career 1-2 on Dana White's Contender Series and 2-7 in the UFC. Oh, yikes, not good at all. Eric Anders just continues to get it done. Eric Anders, 36 years old, by the way. Good win for him. Good win. How about getting dropped right away at the start of the fight? The exact same situation would actually happen later on with Umar Nurmagomedov. But, 83 total strikes to 26, had 10 minutes of control time. So easily 1-2 rounds. That'll do it. And I actually think they gave round 1 to Jamie Pickett, and Eric Anders fought his way back to win the next 2 rounds. So, impressive stuff. Veteran moves. What more can you ask for? Moving on into our first prelim fight, and we headed to ranked flyweight action as number 12 ranked Steve Erceg was taking on number 9 ranked Matt Schnell. And holy bananas, Steve Erceg knocks Matt Schnell out cold with a punch in round 2, clipped him with the right. Oh my goodness. Round 1, by the way, Steve Erceg outstriking Matt Schnell 32-20 significantly. Steve Erceg had it going. This kid is now 3-0 in the UFC. Impressive. Round 2, we're not even 30 seconds in. Steve clips Matt Schnell, falls right down to the mat, doesn't even need to follow up. Little walk-off KO for you. Steve Erceg gets a $50K performance bonus. Absolutely amazing. So happy for Steve Erceg. Just amazing. His second career KO for Steve Erceg. First finish in the UFC. I mean, you're starting off 3-0 in the UFC. David Dork was ranked number 10 at the time. Matt Schnell was ranked number 9 at the time fighting him. Steve Erceg will be moving up to a top 10 opponent come later in the year. Impressive stuff from Astro Boy. Absolutely loved it. Matt Schnell, sorry to see it go out like this. Now a little 2-fight losing streak. He's been knocked out cold in round 2. 2 straight fights. He's now 1-3 his last 4 fights. Matt Schnell, live by the sword, die by the sword. I'm sure he'll be back, but at the same time, Matt Schnell, he is 34. Next time he fights might be 35. I don't know. Steve Erceg, though, impressive stuff. And unfortunately, after that, we would get no more. I guess we had a finish in the main event, but no actual finishes the rest of the way. Second fight in the main card, bantamweight division, Umar Nurmagomedov decimates Bekzat Almakhan. Scorecards from the fight, 30-25, 30-26, 30-26. And by the way, round 1 kicks off. Bekzat hits Umar with one punch and just about dang near knocks him out. Bekzat tries to follow him down instead. Umar takes him down, outstrikes him 43-3, 4 minutes, 21 seconds control time. It was just like, okay, you clipped Umar. And I don't know how hurt Umar actually was. It might have just been he was moving backwards, got clipped. Might have even just been a little stunned that it happened. But after that, just decimation. Round 2, 52 total strikes to 0, 39 significant strikes to 0, 3 of 3 on takedowns for 3 minutes of control time. Umar Nurmagomedov showing there's levels. Bekzat Almakhan. Holy cow. Umar would then promptly destroy him more in round number 3. 50 total strikes to 2, 22 significant strikes to 1, 1 of 1 on takedowns for 4 minutes of control time. Total control time, 5 of 5 on takedowns, 145 total strikes to 5, 68 significant strikes to 3, a 69% striking rate, 11.5 minutes of control time. That's insane. Umar Nurmagomedov, that was his 5th UFC victory. His 5th UFC victory. By the way, he has 3 finishes in the UFC now. Umar Nurmagomedov has now won every round on every judge's scorecard for every fight he's fought, okay? First fight, all right, went into round 2. Every scorecard in round 1 was a 3-0, all right? 3-0 for that one. So that's 3 judges' scorecards, okay? Second fight, all right, round 1 submission. Third fight goes the distance. All 3 judges scored all 3 rounds. That's 9. That's now 12 rounds to 0. Opponents haven't scored for him. This makes it 15. I mean, if we actually look at the what he's done, I mean, there were multiple 10-8s, 2 10-8s on one judge's scorecard. Umar Nurmagomedov now improves to 17-0, and he didn't get the finish, but you know what? We'll talk about what could be next for him as he ascends in the men's bantamweight division. But as for Bekzat Almakhan, look, Bekzat, this is your second fight loss professionally. You debut on short notice, almost knock Umar out with your first punch you land. And I don't think it was that bad. He'll be back. He'll be a threat at bantamweight down the line. I hope this is one of those fights where, Islam Makhachev, Arman Tsarukyan, we see it later down the line. But as for now, Umar Nurmagomedov, the next Khabib. The Khabib of the bantamweight division. And as much as we have the Khabib of the bantamweight division, we got to have a Khabib of the men's flyweight division. Just as I thought, Muhammad Mokaev beats Alex Perez, but couldn't get the job done. Was kind of disappointed. Muhammad Mokaev improves to 12-0, professionally undefeated, but just couldn't get the finish. Round 1, Muhammad Mokaev locked in. 29 significant strikes to 12, 32 total strikes to 12. 1 of 6 on takedowns, though, for a minute and 24 seconds. Was getting stuffed. By the way, totals for the fight, 3 of 20 on takedowns for Muhammad Mokaev. The takedowns were not working. Alex Perez had great takedown defense. Round 2, Alex Perez actually won. Outstruck him 18-9, 13-8 professionally. Stuffed 6 takedowns. Actually had 30 less seconds of control time, but almost got the same amount as Muhammad Mokaev. Round 3, though, Muhammad Mokaev was able to outstrike him significantly, 10-5, go 1 of 7 on takedowns. And I just think it was the pressure that really got this win for Muhammad Mokaev, but I'm happy for him. Now improves to 6-0. In the UFC, advancing up the men's flyweight rankings. Excited to see what's next for Muhammad Mokaev, as he's only 23 years old. Only 23, turns 24 in July. Maybe he'll get the next title shot. I don't know. He blamed his reason for not finishing his opponent because of a staph infection. He also later said that it was other stuff. So I feel like he was just coming up with reasons as to why he didn't win, but it is what it is. Alex Perez drops his 3rd straight fight in a row. I don't know what to do with him. I honestly don't. That might be the last time you see Alex Perez in the UFC. But hey, maybe they'll bring him back. I mean, it wasn't too bad of a loss, but still, nonetheless, didn't do much. Following that fight, we headed to our co-main event of the evening, and let me just say, didn't catch this fight. Glad I missed it. It was a snooze fest. Vitor Petrino beats Tyson Pedro in a boring fight. I was literally told nothing happened, and nothing did happen, but I did predict Vitor Petrino by unanimous decision, and that's what happened. Vitor wins. Totals from the fight, 30 significant strikes to 27 in favor of Tyson Pedro. Both fighters had exactly 33 total strikes. 3 of 5 on takedowns for Vitor Petrino for 5 minutes and 24 seconds. In round 1, Tyson outstruck him 11-10. Round 2, Tyson outstrikes him 14-10. Round 3, Vitor goes 3 of 4 on takedowns for 4 minutes of control time. And then Tyson Pedro retired after he lost. He just straight up retired. Tyson Pedro, who hadn't even done too bad in his UFC return. I mean, after coming back after 3 years gone, he had come back. He had multiple finishes if the UFC stats page can load. But just from my memory, I mean, finished Anton Turkaljic back in September in round number 1. Finished frickin' Ike Villanueva. Wasn't that his name? He finished Ike Villanueva in round 1. Finished Harry Hunsucker in round 1. I mean, just, I don't know. I don't know why you would retire. Maybe just sad that life's not going your way, but it is what it is. Vitor Petrino improves to 11-0, now 4-0 in the UFC, and I believe he's now in the men's light heavyweight rankings. Good win, as another undefeated fighter remains undefeated. Yeah, Tyson Pedro went 2-3 and lost decisions to Modestas Bukauskas and Vitor Petrino after his return in April of 2022. So, thank you for your time, Tyson Pedro. Thank you for your time. Moving into our main event, I thought Shamil Gaziev would get it done, but it is what it is. What more can I say? Jairzinho Rozenstruik gets a round 4 TKO against Shamil Gaziev, and the official details on the UFC side is to an eye injury by Gaziev, but really Shamil Gaziev was so fat and out of shape he couldn't even continue to round number 5. Totals from the fight, 127 significant strikes to 22 in favor of Jairzinho Rozenstruik, 140 total strikes to 27 in favor of Jairzinho Rozenstruik, 1 of 7 on takedowns for 4.5 minutes for Shamil Gaziev. Round 1, Shamil 1 of 3 on takedowns, had almost 2 minutes of control time. Jairzinho outstruck him. Round 2, Jairzinho outstruck him even more. Round 3, Jairzinho outstruck him even more. And round 4, Jairzinho was literally treating him like a punching bag. Shamil had no answer and just wouldn't do anything. Shamil Gaziev wouldn't do anything. Loses his first professional bout, so now he's 12-1. I thought Shamil would have the biggest rise of 2024. I guess not. Jairzinho Rozenstruik gets his 13th TKO on record. You know, good win for Jairzinho. What more do you want? More do you want? His first win since December of 2022. You know what? Sky's the limit for Jairzinho after this. As for Shamil, stick to the unranked contenders. Just a shame. Shamil Gaziev literally gassed out. Mark Goddard was not about to have any of it. Just stop the fight. He's like, okay, literally nothing's going on. So, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Biggie Boy, gets the win. Gets it done. So I believe that's like the first incorrect the second Apex main event I projected incorrectly. Joe Pyfer and Jack Hermanson threw me for a loop. So far, no one can make the jump. No one can make the jump from unranked contender to top 10 fighter. But let's look at the UFC rankings as a lot of this pertains to what went down. First step, men's flyweight rankings as Muhammad Mokaev moves up to the number 7 spot and Alex Perez falls down to number 8. Tim Elliott's now at number 9 as Steve Erceg goes up to number 10. Matt Schnell falls to number 11. Tagir Lembekov to 12. Tetsuya Taira jumps 2 spots to number 13 and Suma Darji falls to 15. First off, I think Steve Erceg should be ranked number 8 personally. So Steve Erceg can fight number 9 ranked Tim Elliott, number 8 ranked Alex Perez. Heck, he can fight number 5 ranked Matthias Nikalu. As for Muhammad Mokaev, I think a title eliminator against Amir Albazi, Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno, Matthias Nikalu, Manel Cape, anyone ranked above him from 1 to 6 could fight Muhammad Mokaev. Heck, give him the title shot against Alexander Pantoja. I don't care. Fun to see him. He's a fun fighter. Steve Erceg, Alex Perez just lost. Steve Erceg just won. You could easily make that fight. Or you could have Alex Perez fight someone lower, like Tetsuya Taira, Tagir Lembekov. Same goes for Matt Schnell. It's anyone below him. I think flyweights going to be in good hands. We just don't have a clear contender with Alexander Pantoja wanting to fight on May 4th. So with 2 months to go, we don't really have a clear number one contender, which is unfortunate. Men's bantamweight division, Umar Nurmagomedov jumps 3 spots from 13 to 10. Now the number 10 ranked contender, sky's the limit for Umar. He could fight number 3 ranked Corey Sandhagen, number 6 ranked Henry Cejudo, number 9 ranked Rob Font. Anything's the options for Umar Nurmagomedov. I personally love a Henry Cejudo fight, testing him against another grappler. I think that could be fun. But as for Belzat, any unranked bantamweight. Other change to talk about in the men's light heavyweight division is Vitor Petrino. Like I said, 11-0 now. Now in the rankings at 15. I think they're priming him to fight maybe number 11 ranked Ryan Spann, number 10 ranked Anthony Smith, 14 ranked Dominic Reyes, 12 ranked Alonzo Menfield. A lot of options and undefeated fighters in the rankings. I love to see it. And the final thing we'll talk about is Sergio Rosenstruck is now tied at number 11 with Derek Lewis in the rankings. And I think that should be his next competitor, him versus Derek Lewis. Strikers matchup could be super fun. Number 8 ranked Sergey Spivak also needs an opponent. That could be fun. Winner of Tai Tuivasa and Marcin Tybura. There's a lot of fun options to do with some of these fighters after this event. But like I said, this was another dull Apex main event. Card overall, not too bad. Prelims were definitely better. But as we look at the Apex card, main events especially, Magomed Ankalaev and Jai Walker, it was all right. Pretty good. We'll give it a good. Strickland Duplessis, amazing. Dolodize Imavov, Hermanson Pfeiffer, Volkanovski Topura, thumbs up, amazing, best main event so far of the year. Moreno Royval 2, it gets it okay, and Rosenstruck Giziev gets a D-. Just dull, just not ideal. And I'm glad we're going to leave this fight night in the past. But yeah, how about that? 55-26 on the year. We go 7-4 on the card, 4-1 on the main card. Predictions looking up. And speaking of looking up, how about this upcoming Saturday, UFC 299? This card doesn't even feel real. Every single fight on this card, I want to watch. This card is almost just as good as UFC 300. So pumped for this, especially I get to watch it with my cousins in Chicago. Every card we've watched, except for UFC 276, has been a banger. I remember last year we watched 285 and 290, 2 of the best cards of the year, and 299 is, as of right now, the best UFC card of the year. Could even be of all time, as of right now. It's that good. Main event, Sugar Sean O'Malley in the pink shorts will be taking on Marlon Vera in a rematch from their 2020 fight where Marlon Vera got a round 1 TKO. In the co-main event, 5 rounds from Dustin the Diamond Poirier and Benoit Saint-Denis, going to be an absolute war. The debut of Michael Page as he takes on Kevin Holland in the welterweight division. Top 10 action from Gilbert Burns and Jack Della Maddalena in the men's welterweight division. Kicking off the main card, we have Petr Yan's return against the dangerous Chinese man, Song Yadong. Headlining the prelims, Curtis Blades and Halton Almeida fight for a potential title shot. Caitlin Serminara and Macy Barber fight to see who will remain in the top 5 at women's flyweight. Matus Gamrot and Rafael dos Anjos look to ascend to the top 5 in lightweight division. Bantamweight Pedro Munoz defends his ranked spot against Kyler Phillips. Ian Kudalaba looks to keep his veteran status as he takes on the rising Felipe Lins. Michel Pereira rides his 5-fight win streak against the dangerous knockout artist Michelle Olakajacek. Robelis Tasmanyane takes on Josh Parzan. Robelis Tasmanyane debuting in the heavyweight division, Taekwondo specialist. Last 2 MMA fights, both ended in 3 seconds, 3-second knockouts. He's insane. Flyweight, you have a great unranked matchup between CJ Vergara, who had my comeback of the year fight in 2023, and the dangerous undefeated Asu Almabayev. And we even kick off the prelims with Joanne Wood and Marina Moroz, a fun women's flyweight fight. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with all you need to know either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm so pumped for this. Cannot wait to cover it all. And guess what? You already know what I'm going to hit you with. Have an amazing week. Make this the best spring break of your life. If you're not on spring break yet, enjoy spring break. When you do, if you go anywhere, let me know. Get out there and vote if you haven't. And ladies and gentlemen, I will catch you next time on the Surprise Jab Podcast.